Welcome back to It Sucks For Real, the channel where we stop pretending and admit, yeah, that thing you're doing, it probably sucks. Today we're talking about the biggest scam ever sold to us. Bigger than NFTs. Bigger than those get-rich-quick schemes on YouTube promising you millions while you're still watching ads for their course. I'm talking about a concept so profoundly misleading, so thoroughly disappointing, that it makes the Fire Festival look like a well-organized family picnic. I'm talking about adulthood. Look, they sold us a dream, a lie, a heavily marketed lifestyle where you get to eat ice cream for dinner and stay up as late as you want. And now, we're here. We are the architects of our own destiny, the masters of our own domain. And frankly, it's a dump. A deeply depressing, tax-ridden dump that constantly needs cleaning, and somehow the Wi-Fi is always cutting out right when you're about to relax. Let's start with the one promise they broke the hardest: unlimited freedom. Specifically, the freedom to indulge. As a kid, you were convinced adulthood meant power. The power to buy anything, to eat whatever, whenever. You pictured a life paved with candy and toys, a bottomless pit of delicious, unhealthy choices. But then you met your new arch-nemesis, the budget. The budget is a cruel, invisible prison guard that stares at you when you look at the price of organic chicken. It whispers, do you really need that avocado toast? Or do you need to pay for the privilege of not freezing this month? The budget is the reason you put that fancy gadget back on the shelf and buy the off-brand instant noodles. The irony is truly incredible. We finally have the theoretical financial autonomy to buy that 6-foot gummy bear we dreamed of at age 9. But now we're smart enough, or rather broke enough, to know that $45 for sugar shaped like a bear is fiscally irresponsible. It's a literal waste of money you need for electricity. Remember when money problems meant your allowance was delayed and you couldn't get that new Pokemon card pack? Now it means looking at your bank account and feeling a very specific cold dread that reminds you of the monster under your bed. Except this monster has a 700-point credit score and will repo your car. It's not just fear, it's financial existential dread. And oh, the taxes. We didn't even know they existed as children. It was like Santa Claus just handled everything. Or maybe some benevolent fairy just magically funded roads and schools. Now, every April, we participate in a grueling mandatory ritual where we voluntarily hand over a giant chunk of our hard-earned money just so the government can... Well, that's not the point. The point is, no matter how much you earn, a shadowy figure is always reaching into your pocket and saying, that's cute, but it's ours now. For infrastructure, probably. And that, my friends, is why the unlimited ice cream dream died. Because you can afford the tub of premium ice cream, but you'll spend the entire time eating it calculating how many hours you had to work to pay for the pleasure. It tastes like debt. It tastes like crippling anxiety. It sucks for real. Moving on to another hidden cost of adulthood, the curse of knowing. As a child, your world was defined by the perimeter of your backyard. The biggest problem was the splinter you got trying to climb the fence, or maybe losing your favorite toy. You were blissfully, wonderfully ignorant. The news was just background noise adults listened to, filled with boring words about grown-up stuff. Now your brain is a 24/7 news ticker, constantly updating with fresh horrors. You know about global warming, political instability, the collapsing economy, the existential threat of AI, the looming student loan payments, and the fact that you haven't seen your dentist in 3 years, and that nagging toothache is probably getting worse. You now understand how the sausage is made, and the sausage is deeply depressing, full of microplastics, and probably costs more than it should. The innocent joy is gone, replaced by a low-level simmering background anxiety that you can't even turn off. Remember that feeling of waking up on a Saturday morning with no plans, just pure, unadulterated playtime? That feeling has been replaced by the pressure to optimize your Saturday. Do you hit the gym, meal prep, finally file that paperwork, clean the bathroom, or maybe just lie there and stare at the ceiling, wondering where it all went wrong, and if you remembered to lock the front door? The kid version of you would be terrified of the adult version of you. Not because you're scary, but because you're constantly tired. You occasionally talk about your cholesterol levels, and your favorite activity is a quiet night in. You traded in the fun, carefree ignorance for a constant stream of information that actively prevents you from sleeping. And the worst part? You have to pay for the Wi-Fi that brings you all this dread. It really, really sucks for real. They told us adulthood meant freedom. You can do whatever you want, they chirped, probably with a sinister chuckle they suppressed. What they didn't mention was that whatever you want is almost always followed by, but only after you've dealt with this mountain of soul-crushing responsibilities. Remember wanting to stay up all night, playing video games or watching cartoons? As an adult, you can do that, but then you'll spend the next 2 days regretting it, fueled by caffeine and the sheer terror of messing up at work because you decided to pursue that digital dragon. The consequences are real, and they follow you to your sad desk lunch. Freedom isn't about doing whatever you want. It's about choosing which necessary evils you tackle first. Laundry or dishes, groceries or paying that overdue bill, socializing with friends or finally calling your aunt back. It's a never-ending game of choosing your poison. Your schedule as a kid? School, then play. Maybe a chore if you were unlucky. Your schedule as an adult? Work, chores, errands, appointments, figuring out dinner, more chores, and then collapsing in a heap, wondering why you ever thought this was a good idea. Me time becomes a mythical creature, spotted rarely, usually involving binge-watching something while half asleep. And let's not forget the sheer volume of adulting tasks. You're not just a person anymore. You're your own accountant, plumber, IT support, mechanic, chef, cleaner, personal assistant, and occasionally therapist for your friends who are also dealing with this nonsense. You're a one-person circus, and the tickets are all going to your utility company. This isn't freedom. It's a very elaborate, very expensive, self-imposed prison. And the wardens are your electric bill and your overflowing inbox. It absolutely sucks for real. Remember how easy it was to make friends as a kid? Hey, wanna play? Yeah, done. Friendship forged. Now, making a new friend is an intricate dance of social cues, LinkedIn stalking, and hoping you don't come across as a total weirdo at the office coffee machine. It's harder than applying for a mortgage. And keeping friends, that's an Olympic sport. Schedules clash like titans, time zones conspire against you, and suddenly, grabbing a drink sometime becomes a vague promise whispered into the void. You value your friends more than ever, but seeing them requires logistical planning worthy of a moon landing. And hobbies? As kids, hobbies were just playing, building with Legos, drawing comics, climbing trees, pure, unadulterated joy. As adults, hobbies become another item on the to-do list, often requiring significant financial investment or a level of mental energy you just don't possess after a full workday. You buy that expensive paint set, that fancy guitar, that subscription to a new online course, convinced you'll finally rediscover yourself. But then the paint sits, the guitar collects dust, and the course emails go straight to your promotions folder, mocking you with unfulfilled potential. Your only real hobby becomes scrolling through social media, passively consuming content about other people's exciting lives. The joy of spontaneous play is gone, replaced by the crushing weight of trying to be productive or improve yourself, even in your downtime. Sometimes all you want is to build a blanket fort and watch cartoons without feeling guilty about it. But no, you're an adult. You have responsibilities, like deciding which takeout menu to order from for the 5th time this week. It truly sucks for real. Beyond the tangible tasks, there's the invisible, insidious weight of the mental load. As a kid, your biggest mental load was remembering your lunchbox, maybe memorizing a few times tables. Simple, contained. As an adult, your brain is a perpetually overloaded server. You're not just doing things. You're remembering all the things that need doing, planning when to do them, and anticipating all the problems that could arise. Did I pay that bill? Is the car due for service? Do I have enough groceries for the week? What about that email I need to send? My friend's birthday is next month. I should probably get a gift. Oh, and I need to replace that light bulb in the bathroom. And the cat's out of food. And did I turn off the stove? It's an unpaid, full-time mental internship where you are the only employee, and your boss is an insatiable, nagging voice in your head. This constant background hum of what-ifs and should-dos drains your energy even when you're physically doing nothing. It's why you can feel utterly exhausted after a day of not much happening. Your brain has been running a marathon. Children don't experience this. They exist in the glorious present moment. They see a puddle. They jump in it. Adults see a puddle. Think about the muddy shoes, the laundry, the potential for a cold, and the time it will take to clean up. We've lost the ability to simply be. This mental gymnastics takes a toll. It's the reason for that dull ache behind your eyes, the forgotten appointments, and the sudden urge to just lie down on the floor and stare at the ceiling for 20 minutes. It's the silent killer of joy, and it absolutely, undeniably sucks for real. Finally, let's talk about the pressure to conform to the mythical adult ideal. From a young age, we're fed images of what a successful adult looks like. Stable job, nice house, perfect partner, 2.5 kids, a dog, and a perfectly manicured lawn. They're effortlessly organized, always put together, and never ever spill coffee on themselves. Then you become an adult, and you realize that's not just a myth. It's a cruel, unattainable benchmark designed to make you feel perpetually inadequate. You look around, compare your chaotic reality to their curated social media feeds, and wonder what you're doing wrong. The truth is, most of us are just winging it. We're glorified toddlers with credit cards, pretending we know what we're doing. We're constantly learning, constantly failing, and constantly asking Google how to fix a leaky faucet or what an APN setting is. There's no instruction manual for adulthood, just a series of increasingly difficult challenges with no obvious reward beyond you survived another week. And the pressure to keep up appearances is exhausting. You have to pretend to be a functional, well-adjusted human being, even when inside you're just screaming for a nap and someone to make you a grilled cheese sandwich. It's a performance every single day. And that's stage fright. It never goes away. Being an adult isn't about reaching some enlightened state. It's about perpetually trying to catch up to an invisible finish line that keeps moving further away. It's a never-ending race where the prize is more responsibilities. That, my friends, sucks so profoundly it should be illegal. Okay, so it sounds pretty bleak, right? And honestly, sometimes it is. Adulthood is a harsh mistress with terrible customer service. But here's the thing about it sucks for real. The only way to survive all this nonsense is to find the humor in it. To acknowledge the suck, share the suck, and maybe, just maybe, laugh at how ridiculously, universally awful some of these adulting tasks truly are. The glimmer of hope isn't in escaping adulthood, because unless you discover the fountain of youth, that's probably not happening. The hope is in the shared experience. It's knowing that you're not the only one staring at a mountain of laundry, wondering how you accumulated so many mismatched socks. It's knowing that your friends are also pretending to be experts at adulting, while secretly Googling how to unclog a drain with baking soda and vinegar. We might be tired, broke, and perpetually confused, but at least we're in this glorious, chaotic mess together. And sometimes, just sometimes, that makes the whole thing a little less sucky. You get to define your own version of ice cream for dinner, even if it's just a spoonful straight from the tub after a particularly brutal Tuesday. So if you've ever felt like adulthood was a bait-and-switch operation, a cruel joke played by the universe, or if you just want to commiserate with someone who gets it, then you're in the right place. What's the absolute worst part about being an adult for you? Let me know in the comments below. Seriously, vent away, we're all listening. If this video made you feel seen, or if it just made you laugh at the sheer absurdity of our collective adulting struggles, please hit that like button. And if you want more unapologetic honesty about all the things that, well, suck for real, then make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into disappointment. Thanks for watching, and remember, you're doing great, even if it all sucks. See you next time.